Public Affairs Committee. It's hated by those on MSNBC, in my opinion. Everyone on the left accuses it of being a Zionist front group. So if you hate Israel, you hate AIPAC. If you love Israel and think Israel should survive, you don't hate AIPAC. So every year they come around, they have a meeting, and the presidents go there and speak, as they do before many other pressure groups. No different than speaking before the Hispanic lobby or the this lobby or that lobby, truthfully. And Obama goes there yesterday and affirms to the wealthiest members of AIPAC and supporters generally of the Democrat Party, in particular, that he's a friend of the Jews and that he's got Israel's back. And a caller in the last hour said he's never heard a president use such a, frankly, juvenile phrase, gutter phrase, kiddie phrase. What do you mean, I've got your back? What is this, like a mafia movie? I've got your back? What is he talking about? Now, I have to say to you that when I was in high school, we learned about American political scandals. And I remember from my Regents exam in New York City, New York State, we had to remember, many things. But in American history, the Teapot Dome scandal was known as, at the time, the most sensational scandal in the history of American politics. We just looked it up, and it's chicken feed compared to what's going on an almost daily or monthly basis in the Obama administration. What was the Teapot Dome scandal? A bribery incident took place in the U.S. in 22-23 during the administration of President Warren G. Harding. What was it? Secretary of the Interior Albert Fall leased Navy petroleum reserves at Teapot Dome and two other locations to private oil companies at low rates without competitive bidding. You hear this? That became a sensational investigation. They convicted one of the officials of accepting bribes to the oil companies, and the scandal was a factor in posthumously destroying the public reputation of the Harding administration, which was already unpopular. Now we have an administration that makes the Teapot Dome scandal, which occurs in this administration, things on a level of 50, 100 times worse on a regular basis, and there's no discussion of it by the opposition party. When I say I expect it from the press, you understand why the press is no longer popular. It's because they're a wholly owned subsidiary of the Democrat socialist machine, because most of the schmucks who work in the news business were handpicked to go into journalism by the communists who run the journalist schools. There's only a few of them. There's only a few journalism schools in America. I know the names of the men who run them. They're hardline, lifetime revolutionary leftists. And they pick only leftist kids. And usually people who go into journalism can't do anything else. If they can't even be a substitute teacher, they went into journalism when I went to school. It was considered a profession somewhat akin to that of the world's oldest profession. If you're unable to become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or even a dentist or an accordionist, let alone a ventriloquist, you went to journalism school. And then you came out and you said that, the best you could do. So that's why you have no investigative reporting left to speak of. That, of course, is why the Internet is so popular and why talk radio is still a powerhouse of information for millions of listeners like you. Because, look, if you were getting this from your newspapers, you wouldn't be listening to me. If they did even a modicum of what they're supposed to do, why would you listen to Michael Savage? Why would you waste your time? Now, I spend a good part of my day searching the best sources for stories. If I go far and wide for them. So if I find a story over the weekend, which I did, posted on the CNN website about farmers being robbed of so much money they can't even buy seed for next spring, for the spring planting. And they say, the farmers say, it's because of John Corzine, Democrat, because of his deep connections to the administration of Obama, that the Justice Department under Eric Holder won't prosecute him or anyone else. I feel that's a great piece of investigative journalism by CNN. As good, if not better, than anything I've seen on the Fox News website in a long time. So I posted it on michaelsavage.com. It's a major scandal. There are many major scandals like this on a regular basis that occur under the Obama administration that we're not seeing much about. So it comes back again to the doofus Republicans. They're the opposition party, the loyal opposition. They have a campaign where the whole world is listening to their debates. And instead of saying what they would do differently, Instead of saying, when I'm president, I will look into the Solyndra scandal. I will find out where that $500 million went. When I am president, I will find out where that $1.2 billion on the John Corzine Democrat, where that money went so the farmers can have money to plant their seeds. When I am president, I will do a thorough investigation of the Defense Department under Leon Panetta and find out who exactly gave the orders to put 22 Navy SEALs and 7 Army Rangers into an old Chinook helicopter, which was shot down, to the greatest loss of life in the history of the Navy SEALs. When I am president, that's what I will do. Have you heard any of that from any of the doofuses called Republicans? No. Instead, you've heard the rotund Gingrich attacking Romney. You've heard the saintly Santorum talking about contraceptives and prophylactics. I'm surprised his next speech won't be about what prophylactics should not be used in the United States of America. When Santorum's elected, he will ban prophylactics in drugstores because they offend children. Or he'll make certain that prophylactics are only sold in the shadowy alleys in the future to make certain that children are not offended when they go to buy bubble gum in your local drugstore. I mean, this is the craziness that we're putting up with. Now we come down to life and death. Never mind corruption and things of that nature. You have a little nation called Israel. Whether you love it or hate it doesn't matter. They exist. They're there. Most of them still remember that their ancestors in the last generation at that were thrown into a gas chamber in Germany. And they're not going to let it happen again, no matter what the mullahs say, no matter what the Turk Ahmadinejad says. No matter what they say, Israel's not going to let them kill them. No matter what the psychotics, the throwbacks who stole Iran from the Iranian people and brought it thundering backwards to the 15th century, stealing women's rights to drive cars. You can't believe what's gone on in Iran. It was an advanced country, one of the most advanced civilizations on earth, completely destroyed by the Iranian so-called Islamic Revolution that has now swept around the world because of Jimmy Carter's insanity. No matter what they say, Israel's going to defend itself. So here we have this existential question: does a nation have a right to defend itself? So many of you left the psychotic say, well, if Israel has 30 or 40 nuclear weapons, Iran certainly should be able to have 1 or 2. The answer is no. The answer is no, because Israel's never said we're going to wipe Iran off the map. Israel's never said we're going to kill Muslims. Israel's never said we're going to use the weapons to wipe anyone off the map. They're purely defensive, and they never talk about them. On the other hand, as near as 2 weeks ago, the leading religious psychotic in Iran, whatever his name is, it ends in an N-I, said we're going to wipe the Jews off the planet. We're going to wipe Israel off the map. I didn't make it up. It's there. Have you heard one Republican say that we'll defend Israel right or wrong because they have a right to live? They're not going to go back to the gas chambers? No. No, you don't hear any of this. So, as I say to you, it doesn't matter what you say, what I say, what Romney says or doesn't say. It doesn't matter what the condom says. It doesn't matter. Israel's going to whack Iran. Israel's going to destroy every vestige of their nuclear capacity that they can do. And it's going to set off a round of hatred for Jews that you've not seen since World War II. All of the Ron Paul supporters will be activated like you've never seen. All of the crypto anti-Semites will suddenly emerge as the anti-Semites they really are. I'm telling you what's coming. You're going to see it. No war for the Jews. We're not being dragged into World War III because of the Jews. Same thing that happened in World War II. The same exact mentality will occur all over again. So don't think this is going to be a cakewalk, nor is it all going to be good. It's going to be a horrendous blow when it happens, but it's going to happen. And I'm reminded of a minor event along these lines. In World War II, Germany was racing to develop an atom bomb. And they were in occupied Finland. They were developing heavy water for their bomb. Do you know that it took only 12 Finnish men? This is one of the greatest stories in the history of military history. They skied into Finland and blew up the plant to stop Germany from developing an atomic bomb, and every one of them survived. Can you believe this story? I've watched the story over and over again on military history. I've seen the fictionalized version of it. Not only that, but Hitler knew that they were coming. He had gotten the information that the plant was going to be attacked. and he posted something like 2,000 or 3,000 SS guards around the heavy water plant in Finland, which is astonishing. These 12 men found a weak link into the factory, which was through the railway line, and they broke in. First they skied, and it took them 2 weeks to get there. I think they skied in from Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. They came into the factory, they planted bombs, they blew up parts of the factory. All they did was slow down the development of the atomic bomb. But they slowed it down sufficiently that Hitler was not able to develop the bomb before we did. Many of you don't know that Japan was racing also to develop an atomic weapon to drop on San Francisco or Los Angeles. All you hear about is the evils of America. That's because you grew up in a time when America haters had taken over the universities.